go. It says, Rei B'shar Maimari Rashbekan, and what we talk about, Zel Shanda, V'hi Tikunim, the Gugolta Heim Shagarmo, Yachas V'Dvekus L'Hatika. So he says, it sounds like they're a connection point, or connector. Heim Shagarmo Yachas V'Dvekus L'Hatika, which is, now he's talking, he means Eric Anpin. It's the Tikunim of the Gugolta are connectors in some way, and he connects them with the dinim. Because the tika, so that's an interesting phrase, an interesting idea. He said because a tika by itself is very far from the dinim. But it's ultimately, that's the whole essence of a tika. Called tikun v'tikun as yared me'es panav madrega achar madrega ad shenis karvu al hadinim, until it begins to come to the dinim. It's as we are mismayat, the light of the Ein Sof that is carried here, then you're getting closer and closer to the dinim. Ba'ofen shehoya efshar lechem lehis basem, in a way that you could reach them and bring this essence and sweeten it. Hine im kain, if that's the case, hamaskala hatzorach chutzrach the shihya sharsham lamala. So therefore, the maskala has to have a root up above ba'ofen sheyuchlu chaim lehiskayim lehisbasim, so that they should be able to stand themselves, to withstand or sustain themselves, and to be able to do the sweetening job, because it says it requires the maskala, or the element of the root of maskala, the levushim, the yakar, and also it has to have these levushim. Shall Zion Tikunim Gugolta. So now you have what? You have the maskala, and then you have the levushim. So as a chutzkla the she yel lechem dvekus imo v'yichyu v'lo yumusa. So it's necessary that they should be able to cling to him, to what? To Eric Anpin, or to the maskala. He said v'hindecha b'shir amadregos. Sheyara the tikun the Gugolta. So as the further down the tikunim of the Gugolta go, me'es pana, from the face of Eric Anpin, shehem sheva tikunim. Now the sheva tikunim. Now we know the sheva tikunim themselves. The nose is there, but it refers to the light. It has to refer to the light that is coming through the tikunim, which is of a refracted light there, that is filtered light. So, but in its essence, this is like a starting point. So before this tikkun came, the 7 malachim were dead. This really shows us about what we said. So now there's 7 of them. Tikkun lemisa sheva malachim. That's what it does. It goes down to the place of ultimate din, and it somehow is intact in some way. Can't. So I'm thinking myself that it can't be intact unless it has this position of the maskala, which we talked about before. So he said of a ray gam bakarne, or look over there, shabir kan bezel deshono, va'achsim gam came hazayat tikundi de Gugolta erikanpin. So this is achsim is lashon caused to be inherited, which means it becomes theirs. The Zer Anpin, so this is all given over to Zer Anpin, begugolta shalo, into his gugolta, the klala davar. So the real general idea here, nimser mikoach zer, comes from this koach, that is the koach that designed tikun to gugolta. Hoyse tikun bezayin malachim demei, so that provides the tikun for the 7 malachim that died. Now, we just have, like I say, I'm trying to piece this, what is the koyach of this, of being able to come through the light that is coming. He's talking about an original light. That's the way I see it. An original light that comes from these tikunim, and it's still around. And it's covered, it has levushim de yakar, and it has this concept of maskal. This is what I hear about it. Vayinyan de tikun mises of malacha, let's talk about that. Shuhu al yedecha v'shevet tikuni gugolta. He says that tikkun comes through as a result of these 7 tikkunim. It's more, or also in Mavul Sharm. There's a lot of stuff in Mavul Sharm. This is what the Mavul Sharm says. He says, he skipped a little bit. He says, Akashin is buyer. Now that we've explained, and let me bring my camera down a little bit more because it's really small, this print. So he says, Akashin is buyer. Inyan hasheva malachim ech yatsa v'nishbruchu v'chaz v'nistakim. How they went out, how they broke, and then they come back and they come into a tikkun. He's buyer lona ma'ata inyan the tikkun and nitzker. So let's talk about the tikkun itself. The Pirkei Kambach, the Sifra D'tniuta, here we are. Sisra Sisra, one thing hidden inside a secret inside of a secret is Tachem is Damein B'chad Golgol. So he said the secret must be in Atik Yomim. That's what I figure. Or maybe he means, I don't know. V'is Damein B'chad Golgol, and it gets in it appears in the skull, Malya Tala, which is full of Tala the Badolcha, of this crystal dew. Hare Mizel Haloshin, so you really have to work on that. He said from this language, Ha'achron, the last language is Bar L'chal Bir Inyan Tikkun, will explain to you an explanation of the Tikkun, Mahu, who he yos or Ha'ain Sof. Now he's spelling out better, I hope. He says that when you take the light of the Ein Sof, Mislavish B'gol Levushim D'Yukar. Well, this is the way I was adding it up. The asking, the achsin, that actually acts as a, we understand his matas of the light is the word tikkun. The achsin, and then it's able to cause to be inherited or to give over, I don't know a good word here exactly, but bechinas gulgolta, v'udnim, v'ainin, etc. He goes through the categories of the 7 tikkunim, the gulgolta, commotion, evoyer, those explained ad sham. So I think that what he's giving us a picture of here, let me see if I can still work on my lighting here. What he's giving us a picture here is a starting point for the tikkun, a view of it. It's coming from Atik Yomim into the Zad of Atik Yomim, I guess I would say that, into the skull of Eric Anpin. And then it gets inherited by Zer Anpin. But it makes it sound like the quality of this first set of tikkunim, I call it that, let's say call it that, is preserved, and it goes all the way down. And that is the actual transportation vehicle of these things. Can we go on now? Or you sent that to me like 11 o'clock last night. If that's a normal time for sending me, first you could have time to do that time? I
could try earlier. That's the time I saw it last night.
Yeah, well, no, I could look, but we have, it's not important. I mean, I am enjoying this tremendously. Where we got with that, we have a few minutes left. So we'll start on Kuf Vav. So it says, Acha Shabir Inyan the Tikkun Shal Hashevet Tikkun the Gugolta the Erikanpin. So he showed us all of that now. Shehem Tikkun the Mises of Malachim. It is, in fact, the original Tikkun that's for the purpose. I mean, I'm thinking that this is the Mahachadash in another language. But he hasn't said anything like that. He didn't talk about, because we know the Mahachadash comes from the Metzach of Erikanpin. Or, I don't know, does it come from the Metzach of where? Of Adam Kadmon? Adam Kadmon. Okay, so that's way before this. Okay, so let's go on. Shehem Tikkun the Mises of Malachim, the Fisha Eric Anpin, Hayorish Vahankil as Haor Shal Hashevet Tikkun the Zer V'no. That's what he does. He's able to give this possession to his children, so to speak. In order to sweeten up those malachim. So let's talk about that maskala we mentioned before. But the chida yivor, and so the first thing is we're going to explain. There is a very deep root for this tikkun, which is called the maskal. Zacher v'nok. Gam lamala bekeser shu hagugolta the Eric Anpin. Now let's see, he says what? That the concept of the mat of that tikkun is male and female. Also lamala bekeser. It's also up above in the keser shu hagugolta de erikanpin. V'achakach yuvoyer inyan tikun hamaskalas, and then we'll talk about the maskalas some more. Shenaase b'muchas timor, which is actually a product of the muchas timor, the erikanpin. The Hana Asiyas Shoresh Hadinim b'muchas timor, that is, the maskala. The thing about the maskala is it has dinim in it already. Just so you just look at all three lines. So therefore, that's why he says the Hainu Asiyas Shoresh Ladinim. It makes a root for the dinim b'muchas timor that will come out of the muchas timor. Ayadei tikun hamuchas timor, by what? By establishing a place there. I just don't really understand what, how I can't picture it in my mind. Let's say. How this comes together, but he says Ayidei Tikun HaMochas Timor, the Tikun of that Mochas Timor, which is a Hismatos, a place of Hismatos of the Or. So that would be the best answer I have. The Bechinas Zachav and the Keva Rachmim V'Dinim, and where it happens over there, that becomes the system of opposites. Zachav V'Nok, Rachmim V'Dinim. Black and white, so on and so forth. And in this place, that's the place where the root of the dinim, that died, that's where their root is at. Is that right? Did I read that right? So I want to go back and just read it one more time. He says, Ayidei tikun hamochas timor. So again, it has to do with the hismatus of the light. And this is what it produces. How this, I don't know. V'rachamim v'dinim, etc. And this is where you see that the root of dinim comes from. In the muchas timor, in the concept of opposites, shal hamalachim, and this is where, again, the sharshe hadinim shal hamalachim, this is where the dinim originally came from the malchus shemesa lamala, but muchas timor that died. It's up in the Mochas Timor. Now, this is a problem for me. The Malachim that died were Olam Tikunim. And here we're in Olam Tikun. And we're in the Mochas Timor of Eric Anpen. Now, are you telling me that corresponds to what? So that's why I'm perhaps not reading it right. He says, this is where the root of the dinim of the malachim. It means that, in other words, that after the tikkun, this is where they wind up. They were din of the malachim, were in the Tikunim, they were completely dinim. So now, what's left of their root is now found in the Mochas Timor, which is part of the maskala. That's the way I'm understanding it now. I don't know how you understand it. I'm trying. Shemesa Lamala b'muchas timor. That element is now in the Mochas Timor. V'az mashgiach Erik Anpin lahoyer. So then he's able to look out and to shine b'malachim v'lakaimim. Because their root, he's telling me their root is now in the Mochas Timor. So therefore it's a part of him. Mekevin sheyesh bo shorish shall hamalachim, because within the Mochas Timor is that root of the malachim. That's my understanding. V'yavor od shebekol zos ein achiza d'shum echad min hatachtainim, and so with all of this, there is no way that any element in the lower worlds will have a kasher to Mochas Timor, v'hu muchas sasam she'ein bo shum gilui. So now that I've described that the root of the root of din is in the Mochas Timor, I told you this, right? And it was mesukan in some way, which Tikkun always means it's matas of the light. So that's what it means, is that there's a further diminishment somehow at this place, and they call it Mochas Timor. And it describes that this is the shorish where dinim come from. And to give you an idea where these are the shorish of the seven malachim are right here at our home base. Now, no test, let's hit it. You have to have them both together. Because making the Shevet Tikunim the Golta Boim Lamaya to Or. So that's the Lashon there. What are they doing? They're limiting down the light. Today, Shaha'or Hagodol Shal Erikanpin. Yuchol, the reddish of the Har B'Malachim, should be able to get down to the Malachim. But I'm saying that he seems like he said that the Malachim, what the root of the Malachim is now in the Mochas Dimah. Okay, anyway, this is what Erikanpin wants to do. The commotion is Bar La'el Shehem Levushim Dikar Lahalim Ha'or Hagodol. So this is what we're doing. We're shining, we're hiding the light. But there's something missing here. What is that? A tikun mitzad hashorosh. You need a tikun from the side of the root. Erik Anpin einu rotze lahashgiach v'la'ara b'malachim. What he doesn't want to shine into the malachim. V'hiyos she'ein the malachim shorish be'erik Anpin. In other words, they're not related. So it's just like somebody asked me to say a prayer for their kid. And no problem, but I don't really know the kid that well. Right? So he said, if you want me to bring you a bracha, I have to have some shachas to you. And so here it is that it's coming into him. Sechab Kamo Shabir, Bishar Mamari Rashbi, the ale, he said, what was that? Because Shechab Below Hoyer Sharsham Nimsabo. If the root of them is not within him, lo hishgiach erik anpin behem ba'abenaka. So he says you won't see that Erik Anpin is not going to be able to look at them because he doesn't have a kasher to them. So therefore you need the other part, the balance. In order to make a root for these malachim in Erik Anpin to begin with. Because if there's not some of them in him, in them, or them in him, that's what he's saying, them in him, then he becomes him in them. Then he could do that. You can go, if they can go from the bottom to the top, he can go from the top to the bottom. It works like that. So it's a Kadesh Erik Anpin Yashgir the Har b'Malachim. B'Haskashach Erik Anpin Meir b'Malachim. So now when he shines into the Malachim, whom Meir Lechem Derek Shevet Tikunim Golta. He shines at them, but he goes through this Hismatis problem. Hamamatim as Haor. V'zeh Shekos B'Shar Mamari Rashbi. So he's telling you that the or is still there, but it's just more lavush, but more maluvish. So therefore, its light is dimmed, just like a cover over a light bulb. So therefore the maskala has to have a root up above. So they should maintain themselves and to become perfumed or sweetened as a result of that. Or do the bisum process. The levush the yakar, those love, what are they? These are the 7 tikunim of the Gogolta, are the Yusha, are levush for that original light. They have to be able to cling to that. The yikya below Yamusa. Now this last part I don't really get it so well. So his levush the yakar, and he says the levush the yakar are the tikunim, of the rosh, of the head. They have to have a devekus with it. I'm not sure how this has to do with the maskal that we were just talking about, where we have to have a shorsh for gevura or for din. They have to be clinging to it. So they have to. In other words, they surround him, and they're not just a surrounding element; they're actually davek to him. Adkan v'rei l'chalon ba'orach. So that's that idea. I think we're going to stop here because we got now a piece. I don't know where it's going, and we'll give a chance to. Very, very, very nice. Thank you so much.
The footnotes you have already for tomorrow.
You mean which one? Yeah, I'll look at it, see how it goes today for me. And anyway, I don't think I did too bad here. I'll be honest with you. If I work on something by myself, which is hard, I work it out. A lot of times it comes out that it's stale when I start to learn it again. Like I've been there, done that. It's involuntary, just what happens sometimes. So I'm really happy with this way. And I will look over them and try to make sure that I don't make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.